Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's timely that we hold this subcommittee hearing. Frankly, I get appalled in recent weeks, months, listening to some of our Republican colleagues repeating Russian propaganda speaking points, and that's real. If you don't believe me, take our colleague Representative Turner's comments about this, who also feels very frustrated. I refer to modern-day Russia, and I'd like your comments, just yes or no, modern-day Russia as a syndicate masquerading as a country with a mob boss called Putin. Quickly?
I would agree with that.
I think Russia over time has emerged as a kleptocracy with global reach.
Yeah, it's a syndicate masquerading as a country.
I think that's a pretty good assessment.
And President Putin is therefore, when you look at the attacks on Ukraine and elsewhere on U.S. and NATO interests, is frankly, I think, been very clear about his positions on this. I don't know whether he sees himself as a recreation of Peter the Great or not. But when this war started in 2022 and the ramifications of it, it was very clear on a bipartisan basis, and I think it's still there, that this was about good versus evil. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I would note that the war started in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea and
Certainly,
invaded
yes.
eastern Ukraine, and it's metastasized since that time.
I would agree.
You know, I look at the situation with our colleagues, and I get frustrated with our own lack of response or resolve, because we were all in there finally during the invasion of World War II, and it took a long time to create the circumstances for us to engage. Then we, post-World War II, were in a Cold War, and we recognized it, and we formed a world umbrella of alliances to stand up in that Cold War. Today, we're in a hybrid war, and I don't think we appreciate the fact that the challenges that we face with our allies and coddling our enemies. I mean, China is an adversary, right? No one disagrees with that. They're also a competitor, right? And they're a vast market, and therein lies the conflicts. Russia's dependency on China in what I believe the Chinese view as a proxy war in terms of their own interests. So, you know, I'm going back to a book that was published in the late 1930s called While England Slept. Do any of you care to quickly comment on, is the United States sleeping now at this point in time? Is there a comparative analogy?
Well, Congressman, I would point to where we are on Ukraine, as well as on Russia's hybrid attacks, as a sign that, in fact, we are not seeing the real threat that Russia poses.
How should Europe and we respond to the Russian hybrid threats to better deter Russia from further aggression against not only Ukraine, but the West? You can all respond quickly. My time's...
I can just start. I would say, first of all, it's really important that our leaders are all on the same page and making the same statements publicly to push back on Russia's hybrid warfare.
And that's not happening yet.
And no, sir, that is not
Please.
happening.
I would say that we need to see the shadow warfare from a transatlantic perspective, not as an individual attack or a set of individual attacks, but more as a campaign that's actually designed to divide our cohesiveness.
NATO's being undermined by President Putin, and certainly she thinks it's a good thing, right?
They would welcome that.
Yes.
I would just argue that collective response here is what the authoritarians fear more than anything.
And that's why we ought to be doing everything we can to formulate a strategy on that collective response. And we have the alliances in place, do we not?
We do, yes. We both have anchor alliances, but also we have to build out this architecture of agile alignments. And they're going to differ by region and by topic, but that takes hard work.
So what steps should we be taking in the cyber world to better deter Russia in supporting these regional security operations in Europe to counter their cyber operations?
I think we're at the point where we need more pre-agreement among allies on how to respond so that we don't get caught flat-footed and in reactive mode on a consistent basis, which has often been the case.
But we are in a cyber hybrid war today, are we not?
It's a part of the broader spectrum war.
My time's expired, but more needs to be continued in all of this, and we need to come together. Thank you.